Hi there, Chris here, another quick tip for you all. In this video, we're going to continue our look at painting the Tzaangor from the Warhammer Quest Silver Tower box set. And so as you can see here, the model is ready to go, and so in this video, we are going to work on the sword of the model. And so the model's all ready to go. You can see the areas with the sword have already been left in primer, and so it's basically a light gray primer. And we are basically going to cover over these areas of the blade in lead belcher. The moisture from the brush, like gnome thinners were needed here. Just simply used it right out of the pot and applied it directly to the sword. You can use a little bit of water from your paint pot if you wish to thin it down just a little bit. You could also use mediums to get a nice smooth finish. Didn't feel it was entirely necessary. Balthasar Gold is next. This is going to be for the crossguard and handle, as well as that funky little eye detail in the middle. Again, you can see it's relatively straightforward just laying this on, and again, no thinners used, just the dampness of the brush, just to help thin it out just a little bit. As both of the lead belcher and Balthasar Gold are base colors, they do contain a lot of pigment, and so they do usually need a little bit of thinning because they are so thick and can go on rather chunky and rather thick. Next, we're going to use some Nuln oil. This is going to be the gloss sort of Nuln oil. This will work with regular Nuln oil as well, that dries with a regular matte finish, but I find that with the gloss, it maintains that nice shine on the metallics, the nice metallic luster of it all. And with this Nuln oil, we're coming in and we're creating a bit of a non-metallic metal kind of shading process as we're working our way through here. So basically, I'm just putting a drop shadow in behind the top part of the blade, as well as the under curvature of the sword as well. And there's quite a bit of Nuln oil being laid out on the underside of the blade, just because it's a little bit darker, possibly. Again, you can see it. So where we want the shade wash to build up the most, we push and finish the end of our brush stroke in that area. So for the curvature of the blade, you can see I'm ending my brush stroke in the curvature. Kind of struggling with it there a bit. Again, if you have too much on your brush, you can always just wipe your brush off and just draw the excess off, especially if you're working with it fairly quickly like this, which I do on the front end of the blade there. You can see there's a little too much there, so we just end up just drawing some of that off and working it down further down the blade. Really, the main face of the blade, I really wasn't too concerned with getting too much color transition going on. It's really just that under curvature of in the very end of the sword that I really wanted it. And that is about 2 glazes onto the blade. And then for the Agrax Earth shade here, we're simply just gonna, again, just one coat cover these areas. But on the blade itself, it was 2 layerings of the Nuln oil. Didn't quite show that, but I don't think we really need it. I think we get the gist of it. It was just basically to build up the color again and again. But again, because of the gloss, it maintains that nice metallic luster on the blade, and so we don't have to fiddle too much with trying to build that metallic shine back up. IronBreaker is next, and this is going to be a highlight, and this is going to go on most of the curvature of the blade, as well as the underside of the blade as well, basically just following the edge. Of course, if you lay a little bit too much color down, you can always quickly just wipe the excess off, or you can, if you're really clever, you can also blend it back further into the blade as you wish, whichever way you really want to go. Again, as I mentioned before, this is sort of a non-metallic metal feeling, as we are, creating really deeper shadows in some areas. Again, you can see on the opposite side of the blade here, we're just doing the exact same thing. Both sides of the blade are symmetrical, so again, it's the same technique on both sides. Really only need to show one side of the blade, but I figure we'll show both because some people might say, well, what did he do on the other side of the blade? So, we're showing both. Once that's dry, we're going to come in with some Stormhost Silver. You could also use Runefang Steel as well, but I find the Stormhost Silver just to be a tad brighter, and so I just wanted to finish off the blade with that. Again, this guy's a chaos kind of dude, and so I figured the blade would be a little bit dark, especially if you want to preserve that nice contrast and the Nuln oil in there. And so basically we're just going to do an edge highlight, just running along the blade. You can see here I'm using the sides of the bristles just to get that paint onto the surface. Really, it's not a whole lot. And then, of course, I use just a little bit just to finish off that tip of the sword on the uppermost portion of the blade. Again, everywhere else, it gets a nice little edging, just to kind of really bring that out. Gehenna Gold is next. This is going to be for the crossguard and handle. And basically, all I'm doing is I'm using a detail brush here, and I've drawn the brush out to kind of a chisel, and I'm just basically laying the color out. And it's really just the dampness of the brush. There's no thinners or anything else needed to thin this color down a bit. We're just going to be laying it on fairly quickly here. Again, I'm just catching, concentrating mostly on the ends of the crossguard, top of the eyeball motif that's on the crossguard, as well as the handle, and that little flame that kind of runs up the center of the blade as well. Armor Gold is next. This is going to be our final color for the gold. And again, this is just going to be applied right to the ends. Tiny little dots here and there. And of course, just along the little finger of a flame running up the blade. And then the handle is just a little bit on there as well. But that is essentially it. That is the Tzaangor blade from the Warhammer Quest box set. You can see here, just finishing off those end little details. But that is it. It's as easy as that. Do not be afraid to give it a try. And let Tzaangor scare you. We've got even more painting tutorials in the Silver MiniWarGaming Vault. You can watch another one today about how I finish off the shield of this guy. Just click on the link in the video description below and watch it right now. If you don't have a MiniWarGaming Vault membership, you can click on the link for a free 7-day trial. Make sure you sign up for the Silver membership so you can gain access to the painting tutorials, and you'll get instant access to over 1,000 painting tutorials already in the vault. And so thank you for watching, and happy wargaming.